Good evening and welcome to the February 15th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If everybody rise for Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome. Sorry for the late start. We do have a public hearing this evening, and it's I'll now call that to order. The Waterboro Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, February 15th, 2022, beginning at 6 p.m. to receive public comment regarding an amendment to the Parks and Rec Space Ordinance for MRSA 30 subsection 3009. Draft amendment ordinance can be reviewed at the town office, so you can find it on the website. So we are now open for discussion. This is really the fundamental change here to the Parks and Rec Ordinance, is to add under section 1.01.17, ice shacks shall not be located or stored on shore within the park area prior to January 1st and must be removed by April 1st. Any shack ice shack in violation may be removed by the town with the cost of removal paid by the owner. That is the extent of this, and we did take the opportunity to, under the last section, which is the amendment to Parks and Rec Space Ordinances, is remove the Waterboro Fay Memorial Park from this list. Any questions, comments, discussion?
By removing the Bald Bay Park, just for everybody to know, that was donated to the land trust, so the land trust is handling that.
But the intent of this is to stop the storage of ice shacks prior to January 1, and they must be removed prior to April 1st. Any other comments? And we did not receive any emails. So
just a comment on the ice shacks. I want to call it a septic system, but it's a water system on that park. And this year there was 2 or 3 trucks that drove over that sandy beach to put the ice shack on our beach, and that system is to keep all of the surface water from going directly into the lake. That was designed about 18 years ago and has worked very well. And if you drive over it, it ain't going to work as well, and that's to keep the traffic hopefully off that beach. And this coming spring there will be a fence put up. The Public Works are working on the design and whatnot of that, but that will protect our leach field, gray water or rainwater leach field from that parking lot.
anything else? If nothing else, I'm going to declare this public hearing closed, and we will vote on this later in the agenda. Any announcements from the board? Additions or deletions to the agenda? We don't have any appointments. Any public comment this evening? We'll move on to correspondence. We do have the treasurer's reports, a motor vehicle report, and contract deputy monthly reports. If anybody's interested in those as a copy, they can certainly reach out and request that, or it's also available in the packet if someone logs on to the website. Reports and staff initiatives, Selectmen's reports. We start with Dana.
I have nothing.
Mike.
I have nothing, right?
Dave, who's joining us.
Nothing this time around. Thank you.
And I am all set as well. So, interim town administrator Mac Boers report.
Just a couple things as reminders. Reminder to keep pushing our electronic services using the text.my.gov so we can continue to build the database. Utilizing that service, we can reach a lot of residents quickly with important information. As we talked about a couple weeks ago, the Public Works Director and the driver labor positions have been posted. We have a couple of the driver laborers that have applied already, and Jason and I will sit down and talk about those. We've updated the ad to say that interviews will start immediately and the position will remain open until filled. Thank you to Selectman Dwayne Woodson for the help over the last couple of weeks with the transition with Public Works. It's been a big help. Jason's been well involved. We're off to a good start, and we'll continue to work with him, and hopefully have a seamless transition. You may be aware the traffic lights at Hannaford are not working. You may hear complaints about that. We've had electric light out. They've found a bad loop in the road. Estimated repair cost is $6,000 for that. At this point, they're saying they do not have ownership of the traffic lights or have any plans of taking them over. I'm still following up with the traffic engineer from Southern Maine on that as well. Something to think about moving forward with our current staffing levels. And I had a conversation with Selectman Woodson when he was in a couple weeks ago about potentially contracting out some of the maintenance for our parks, for the mowing and cleanup. Friendship Park, Goviel Park, Taylor House, and the Monument over here at Cross Mill Center Station and Town Hall. I know we've used current staff, but one of them was, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but was Josh Andrews doing a lot of mowing as well. So something to think about and as we move forward. And I sent out to you guys, I believe, at least a week or so ago, if you could provide some comment on the MOU with Southern Maine Planning and Development to extend the contract or the agreement with them for planning services until at least I believe it was for a year, so it would be the end of June. And that's with Lee J, since we haven't had any response to the postings.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just go ahead and
you're also
sign that off, unless anybody's got any hang up with it.
Okay, we'll take care of that then. And I'm good.
Okay. I will offer, and it's up to the board here, but if we want to bring old business up in front of new business, certainly I'm amenable to that if someone wants to make that a motion. Seeing as how the bulk of the folks in the room are here for item 10.
I'll make a motion to remove item 10A
Okay.
up ahead of item 9, new business.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? 5-0. Thank you. So, we, under old business, we'll discuss a vote on a consent agreement for map 24, lot 20. So, I'll turn it over to our code officer, Mike Gilpatrick. You can explain what the situation is. And
Mr. Lowe, could you put that back, the graphic back? Point it. Many of these folks here are probably wondering.
Mike, do you need that again?
Are you folks from Middle Branch Road?
Yeah.
That's mine, not his.
Yeah. All right. As many of you folks from Middle Branch Pond know or are very well aware of, we have a pretty substantial tree removal violation and also the duff layer as well. Some things have taken place here at this residence. This was in a second attempt at a revegetation plan. The revegetation plan is, or needs, in order to approve this from the code enforcement office, needs to be consistent with shoreline zoning revegetation guidelines. Was their response. This is a rebuilt. This is like an as-built plan. You'll see that there's a little orange fleck here. This data all came from the original date of the violation, where we went through marked stumps with paint, counted the number of trees removed, and their locations. So I cross-referenced my notes with their as-built plan. You'll see that there's a number of orange spots here. These are trees that still remain on this site. It's very difficult to see. We haven't really blown it up, but there's like a gray X right here with a circle around it. That was a tree that was removed. They missed a few of the trees that were removed, but that was to be expected in their as-built plan. So this is the reason why I cross-referenced my original notes with this as-built plan. This reflects their attempt to revegetate this past summer. Okay, you'll see a lot of these trees along this edge. The reason being that we're asking for a new revegetation plan is because it doesn't meet shoreline zoning guidelines. First of all, this row of trees here along this left side, those were all plantings intended to be the adequate sizing to be scored a tree. Unfortunately, they are not 2 inches in diameter, 4.5 feet from the ground, or at breast height. We utilize that term a lot. With that being said, those replantings, provided that they survive, only counts as a sapling or a shrub, even though they're trees, but they're saplings. They're very small and don't meet the criteria. You can see there's a number of plantings here along the front. These are more along the lines of plants and flowers and so forth, and walls. The new revegetation plan is going to has a host of new, not necessarily new requirements, but adjustments made to this as-built plan. What had happened is this gentleman had filled a great deal of the area with sand in an attempt to kind of alleviate the stumps, we'll say. And in the course of doing that, he put this pressure-treated wall here, there's a pressure-treated wall here. Well, those don't coincide with shoreline zoning rules either. Those will have to be moved. Those will have to be removed. All of this area will have to be reclaimed. There's some small locations of grass that have been planted on either side here. That also is not in line with shoreline zoning, because before any of this violation took place, this entire lot was covered with what we call a forested duff layer. That forested duff layer will need to be removed. So they'll need to remove all of the fill that they put in, put 3 inches of mulch in over the entire space that's been excavated, and they'll be required still to plant 16 trees in addition to what they've already done, because we're kind of giving them some sort of amnesty. Not necessarily amnesty, but some sort of grace we're giving them, because they planted way more than they were required to replant for shrubs and saplings, because they intended for them to be full-size trees, but they don't. Unfortunately, they don't meet the criteria. So overall, they were asked to replant 36 plantings. They have 18 shrubs and saplings combined. They'll be required to plant another 15 trees. Sorry, there was 32. I'm getting very hoarse here. That's any questions on this plan and what this is what our consent agreement is requiring. We're also giving them until the middle of July to complete their replanting or the revegetation plan.
Could you explain to me the requirements of the trees they're going to plant? Because I know I had a hazard tree taken away in the coastal zone, and it was 3 6-foot white pines per tree. That's what 10 years ago or 8 years ago.
Well, shoreline zoning has changed some since then. For instance, instead of being able to plant 3 white pines, you would be able to plant 2 white pines and maybe a maple or hemlock or something to that effect. It has to be a native tree, but a lot of that is scored off the size of the tree removed. So every stump that we detected upon original violation was measured, marked with marking paint, and documented. And that was cross-referenced with this as-built plan that we received from them, as you see up on the thing, and we're looking for the balance of these plantings. And obviously, to return to the original grade, to restore the forested duff layer, there are some other significant parts here that need to be repaired.
Was there any changes made to the draft agreement since it was hanging in the office?
A date, I believe. They had called and requested for another 30 days and there's nothing set in stone yet. This is what this meeting is for the selectmen to discuss and determine what they feel is adequate. They had asked for a 30-day extension for the plan specifically. They'll have to have, Ben, correct me if I'm wrong?
Jim, you should jump in here for the formal whole
Great.
June 15th, I'll replant.
June 15th will be all replanting, but when is their revegetation plan due again after the extension? April 1st?
April 1st.
Is that correct? We set up for it to be March 1st, and they're claiming that they can't get someone, because you have to have a professional do the revegetation plan. They're stating that may not be enough time, and they're asking for a 30-day extension for that revegetation plan. But we're not moving their completion date. That will be set in stone.
So Mike, on this violation, this particular violation, I noticed the intent form didn't include like 54 really. It didn't include like the streams. So this is just 17 restful?
Correct.
So the others will follow after that, or?
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
As far as, we actually have to get a forester involved for probably what you folks are most concerned about. Just so that we make sure that the basal area is measured correctly. There are a bunch of different things that I'm not comfortable making the determination with, because I'm not a forester and.
It's a science.
Yes, exactly.
No doubt. I was wondering if I could, I made up a couple, I sent you guys a PowerPoint with what was going on.
Yes.
Just kind of,
Can you just state your name so that they get it for the record?
I'm sorry, my name is Brian Riley, and
Thank
we own a home on 9 Restful Way, my wife and I married, and we've been up there for 29 years. And we're basically on Restful Way, we're like the 3rd lot in on Restful Way as we come up the hill.
Thank you.
And so one of my questions was, does the board know like the total, damage this particular person has done?
Well, I think we've witnessed all of the different things that you sent to us and whatnot. I believe most everybody on the board has reviewed that. This is specifically for this
17.
lot and this shoreland zoning vegetation issue, right? We understand that there's another lot in concern. There's some of the concerns about the road. The road is a private road. Town certainly is not going to get involved in.
It's a public easement actually, so I consulted on that, and so it's not a private road, so it's made for the people of Waterboro to use and the lake
Right,
roads.
but the town has no interest in the road. So,
There's also, so when I was visiting Mike the other day, I went through the records and found documentation of Ron Giroux's, basically he had a lawyer and he was speaking to the road and described it to the town. And that was in 1985, so it is a little bit different than what everybody's thinking. I don't know if anyone.
The town has no interest in no legal interest in the road, okay? It might be for public access, for folks that have, rights of way or land on the different properties. But from the town's perspective, we don't own the road, we don't maintain the road, we have no legal interest in the road.
Right, so it doesn't matter, the fire truck can't get down there anymore or anything.
That's certainly an issue that we would address if in fact it had to be addressed, but not like any other. There's a whole ton of roads in a municipality that have those same kind of issues. And we don't maintain those roads, or, there is a fire road access fund that we utilize with the road commissioner and the public works director, snowmobile club, those kind of things, but those would be where, if there was issues with the road, that's where those funds would come from. And that goes through town meeting every year, same language every year, and it, addresses those issues. But,
Your PowerPoint was very helpful.
yep. Yes,
Scott
sir.
Needham, I also have a property up there, 23 Russell Way, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, but we're not concerned about emergency vehicles, or if I want someone to come up and pump my septic system, or if I need oil to heat for my family. We just have to worry about dirt, piles of rocks, logs. We used to have an 18-foot wide road. Now it's 8 feet wide. You go through at a snail's pace to get in there, and you have to tell everyone, watch out for the rocks and whatever this individual is going to put there today, and cones. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to put heating oil in there because I don't think the truck will fit. What if my camp's engulfed in flames? The town really doesn't care about any of that? I mean, this was as built since 1959 when my grandmother bought this property. And now, because of some person putting dirt, putting rocks, putting logs there, we have to live with that?
Well, there's certainly the access of the right to access through that road.
So, because of this individual putting this dirt in, if Brian and I wanted to go up with a bulldozer, we could clean it out, the town wouldn't say anything?
We're not going to
Yeah,
get involved in it.
don't
That's something between the property owners. I mean, and I know that's not what you want to hear, but the fact of the matter is that, and Ben, you want to step up and Ben is from Jensen, Beard, Gardner, Henry, who is representing the town tonight from a legal perspective, but we have really no legal interest in the road.
Well, first of all, thank you, Dennis. I'll clarify. I was here only regarding the consent agreement that's proposed for 17 Restful Way, but I can say, just as a general principle, I don't have any knowledge or any opinion. I haven't looked at the issue of this road, but generally speaking, if it is the case that there is a public easement over a particular road, all a public easement is the general right of the public at large to utilize that road, as opposed to individuals who have particular either a fee interest or an easement interest in that road. What a public easement doesn't do is require or obligate or otherwise, require the town of Waterboro to maintain that road. It has the option to under law, but there's no requirement for a municipality to maintain a public easement as there would be a public road. It's about as general an overview as I can give on that. But to reiterate what Mike had said, the consent agreement that's before you tonight is quite narrow. I understand that the scope of these issues go much further than that, but this is simply to deal with the identified shoreline zoning violations at 17 Restful Way, and nothing else.
Thanks, Ben.
Just one small note, I'm Rick Minelli, by the way. I have a lot there, it's empty, and that's the primary lot that I make available for people from town to get to the pond, to put in a canoe and fish and swim. And what this gentleman has done is created about a 3-foot berm that can't be passed. Now, I think that's unfortunate because it's a benefit for the town, and one we generously make available. So, anyways, just a thought on that. We know it's a civil issue on the damage, but
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to, I'm Denise Manelli. Again, we have, we're in a butter, we have a lot near this property on Restful Way. We have a camp also in Middle Branch Pond. And we own about 240 acres in and around Middle Branch Pond. So the pond and the health of the pond, the health of the quality of water is really important to everyone, but certainly important to us and important to the, again, health of the pond. But I think perspective, when you're considering some of what you're requesting the current owners of 17 Restful Way, perspective is really important. It sounds a little bit like there's a willingness to accept some of the shrubs as part of the agreement to replace trees. That concerns me because I don't think there was any. I'm surprised to hear there was attempts in the summer to mitigate the problem, because it seemed to me most of the summer we were all pretty startled across the entire pond that things just continued to seem to get worse in terms of the lawn going in and the pressure treated wood going in and everything being added. So it didn't seem to me like the summer was being used to fix the problem. It seemed to be making the problem worse, I'll just say that. But from a perspective standpoint, Middle Branch Pond is tiny. It's very tiny, and for those of you, I think, are probably a little more familiar, perhaps, with Little Ossipee. Little Ossipee is 557 acres. Little Branch Pond is 40 acres. Little Ossipee's average depth is 22 feet. The average depth of Middle Branch Pond is 13 feet. The equivalent runoff problem, if you were to have this in Little Ossipee, would be approximately 24 lots of this size, clear cut, and added, you know, all sorts of mulch and lawn and seeds and everything else. It rained really hard after a lot of this stuff was put in, and I saw it wash into the lake. If you had 24 homes on Little Ossipee where people clear cut them and that was pouring into the Little Ossipee Lake, a whole hell of a lot of people would be concerned about the future algae bloom. And so at the end of the day, I do think it's going to take a really, really, really long time if the current owner actually follows what you're requesting. Big if. It's going to take a really long time to have a positive impact. And the impact now, for such a tiny little pond, I believe is significant. And I think that the board, I respectfully request that that be taken into consideration.
I think another consideration as well is I've been a volunteer for the Main Lake Stewards for 10 years, and kind of like when this all happened, we were kind of shell shocked, you know. So realistically, you know, COVID was going on, and you know, Mike was, you know, just coming on board, and so not much was happening. You know, they put down 6 feet of mulch, and you know, away we went. And you know, so I reached out to some of the associations that I've gone to workshops with, you know, like Spagle Lake and Ossipee, and realistically, I've gone all the way up to like Auburn and the Belgrades, and when I tell them, you know, exactly what went on, they're completely shocked that like the town hasn't taken like more severe action on it. And so realistically, like this whole violation is affecting a lot of people's homes and values of property, and you know, you have a downgrade in the water, it affects the, you know, the value of your property, and it's a lot more important than a lot of people think. And I'm glad I'm here today, because we really need your help, because it's almost like this thing's going on in a vacuum and like no one knows about it. But you know, when I email like the other associations, they're shocked someone's not in jail. And then, so like when I was reading the intent agreement, they're talking about a $3,000 fine that's just gonna be, you know, forgiven if you put a couple bushes in, or trees or shrubs. The fact of the matter is that the guy that did the cutting, he has no intentions of replanting. And so it's only gonna survive if you want it to survive. And, you know, like I said, I've spent 29 years, you know, revegetating my property, and you have to go out of the way, and 50% of the time you lose the tree. And that's when you're trying to grow the tree. And so, I don't think like the fine fits the crime, in my opinion. And it's gonna send a serious message to people like, okay, well, we'll pay the lawyer's fee for $3,600 and knock them down. I mean, these weren't little trees. They were like 80-year-old oak trees. I'm talking about like this. I brought pictures with me just in case you guys didn't see them, but it was a beautiful, beautiful stand of trees, not to mention the upland lot. It was like an emerald forest, I hate to say it. It was beautiful. So it just seemed a little odd, like in that intent agreement that, you know, things were, you know.
Well, I mean, understand it, you know, and Mike, I'm sure, has had discussions with you folks, but we're responsible for shoreland zone ordinancing, okay? It used to be that the DEP was much, much more involved, but they have been involved in this consideration of reforesting and replanting and revegetation. That's the plan that they really came up with and we agreed with. And there is a process for what you go through, okay? We don't necessarily go string people up because they cut a tree, okay? But the fact of the matter is that whether it's on Ossipee Lake or whether it's on Lake Arrowhead or Lake Sherbin or any other pond within in the municipality, we have a responsibility to enforce shoreland zoning, okay? There's a process that we go through to do that, okay? And it might not be as expedient as what everybody would like to see, but there is a process that we have to go through. If there's not a consent agreement, or there's not some sort of an agreement that we can come together with the landowner, we're ultimately going to court. I mean, and then we let a judge or a jury or whomever decide what's going to happen. But I can tell you that based on experience that if we have the DEP involved and they say this is what has to happen to this property, that's what the judge is going to hear if we don't have an agreement. So I think what we're trying to get to here is a consent agreement, and I would agree, and we have different opinions on the board of, you know, how much there should be a fine or whatever the case may be. Ultimately, what we want to see is the vegetation restored. And unfortunately, you can't restore a 80-year-old tree. But the fact of the matter is that we can go through the process that, you know, is recommended by the DEP to get to where we need to be.
But it
I
sounds
think one
like-
issue, excuse me, Denise, that probably has nothing to do with the DEP is this concept of waiving the fine, the town's fine, as an incentive for the trees to be planted by June 5th or whatever. If that's what you all want to do, that's great, that's fine, but the remediation doesn't end till 5 years, and at that point, you know, there needs to be 80% success rate. I don't think it's beyond reason to take the money, put it in escrow, and then give it back to them in 5 years after they've had success. That meets the state and local concerns.
Well, we can do that. Unfortunately, the town is not in the banking business, okay, for us.
What is the reasoning for waiving a penalty?
To get the work done, okay? They're gonna pay the lawyer fees, right? But the work needs to be accomplished.
Yeah,
right?
and it needs
If
to
it
last
doesn't,
for 5
if it
years.
doesn't get accomplished, then by June 15th, then we're gonna we're gonna assess them, go after them again for a shoreline zone, shoreline zoning ordinance.
Did I misinterpret though what was stated? It almost sounds as if there's already a willingness to compromise on what's called a shrub and what's called a tree. It sounds like,
No. Go ahead.
Yes, I may not have been clear. A lot of these plantings that were performed are not counted at all for a tree, a shrub, a plant. What has happened is you folks live there. Oh, I must have turned it off for myself. As you folks live there, all these trees on the left-hand side of the road, you know very well that those came from across the street in a bucket. The success rate of those actually making it is very low. And we're aware of the 5-year statute and how you have to verify that they need an 80% success rate. And as to the 8 foot of mulch, and it seemed like it was the end of it, that was DEP's recommendation as far as an immediate fix before the whole bank washed into the lake, not just the sides that got around the berm. That 8, because I was able to enforce that immediately before I take the stop work order down. I needed to be able to, so that we could begin some sort of litigation for repair. And we're not trying to waiver or bend the rules to make it much easier on this gentleman. He's going to have a significant amount of work to do. All of the stuff that he's pulled in there has to come back out. There has to be 3 inches of solid erosion control on top of everything, on top of the original ground, not the fill that he's hauled in, on top of the original ground to restore the woodland duff layer, which is what we all know impedes erosion.
Which is okay, but you've already tried to do this with this party, and they had neglected and turned their nose up at all of us.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This gives us a legal document. So when they refuse to, now we can prosecute. We can waive all of this we can waive all of the litigation and all of the stuff in between. Now we go directly to court because he's in contempt. That's the point.
So
this is a waste.
You and I were talking a couple of weeks ago, maybe more than a couple of weeks ago. I went through that folder. The folder's going to be like that thick. I've never seen anything like it in my life. So that being said, I took the time to read through it, and he's gone through at least 4 code enforcement officers for cutting, survivability, not making it. And so you're talking back into the 90s. And so my whole thing is like, how is this going to be any different? And he knows it's not going to be different.
I've got 20 years to work. Hopefully it can be in Waterboro. Yeah. So let's see. I'm certainly not going anywhere. I would beg each and every one of you to realize that this was before I even started my first day. This was for the week before I started. And the previous code officer went there with me, and he was very happy on how I handled it. I'm sorry that things aren't moving fast enough, and I agree. And that's why we're trying to get this consent agreement in place currently, so that we don't go through another season with no action. And if we do, there are significant penalties for that.
And just so you know, no one's saying you didn't move quick enough.
No.
It's just that the perception of progress is false.
I understand that. I do. We're trying to push him in the right direction and then have the teeth to back him up. The teeth to back it up, rather. That's our intent.
I mean, I was there the day that you were there with Glenn.
Yeah, I remember well.
Glenn was on his way out, and I've talked to Glenn a couple times prior to that. He says he's never seen anything like that in his career. And most people cut down 1 or 2 trees to get a view of the lake or whatever, and he's never seen such a devastation like that. He didn't know what to make of it.
I worked for Glenn as a deputy for quite a while. I showed up one day. I know it's a significant violation. I showed up one day here on Ospey Lake because I got a call that he was out on inspection, couldn't make it. Somebody needed a new artesian well. Well, they didn't dig a retention pond. So you can imagine what the slurry from a well does to the lake. So and I've only been doing this for 6 or 7 years. So I'm not sure if I'm on board with that was probably the worst shoreline violation. Because people come up from away.
As far as tree cutting.
Correct. Well, as far as tree cutting. It may have been. It's certainly the largest number of.
You look at like the past examples, like 2013 to 2016, Bridgeton, they over trimmed their trees 2/3 up. That cost that guy 15 grand. He didn't do any cutting. And then just now, recently in Camden, you know, the guy trims like his hydrangea bushes or lilac bushes or whatever, and they've, you know.
As somebody stated before, Mr. Kalinich from Shoreline Zoning, from the Maine DEP, has been on board with this enforcement since the middle of July. He was called, obviously, before that. And then he got to the point where he could actually get out and make a site visit. So we're doing the best we can with what we've got.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
One question, Mike, and the board. So the board members have different views on what the fines are going to be on this consent form. So the only issue that this family had was on a particular date. They really don't care what the fine is, and they're willing to sign.
I'm not sure that they've seen any other number.
Well, there's a couple numbers in there, right? From $100 to $2,500 per tree. And you're saying the board members all have different feelings on that?
Well, there are different opinions of what it should cost someone to violate shoreline zoning, okay?
So the board has to determine what the fine is, put it in the draft to make it the real deal, and then they'll sign?
We will either accept the way, this as the way that it is currently written, okay? Or we can certainly attempt to modify it.
And is there a time frame for that, sir?
We're going to do that tonight.
I see, thank you.
Okay.
I know also when we first met with Mike, Glenn and I were discussing, like, you know, how something like this could happen. And basically, you know, it was discussed, like, you know, they're going to laugh at a $500 fine for this. They'll pay it. And Glenn looked right up at me and he says, no, it's not going to be 500. It's going to be 2,500 a tree. That's what he looked right in my eyes and said that to me. But then, you know, he was on his way out and Mike was on his way in, and
no code officer.
COVID hit, but that's what he told me.
No code officer has that authority.
No, I know, but that was just his.
So you can't hold that.
No, I know.
That's not viable.
I'm just saying, like, so that was his kind of opinion. Like, I don't know him from Adam. It's kind of like a baseline what he thought like the violation should be, because he hadn't seen such a severe violation.
Real, thank you. Well done.
Any other discussion?
Well, did the DEP see the fine amounts in this?
Yep. Actually, we had a meeting here on the 26th of January with the abutters, representative from DEP, myself, Ben. I'm sorry, not the abutters, the homeowner. The homeowner, their representation. And we went through what we expected and then drafted the agreement.
So I looked at your,
Okay.
I looked at your presentation. It's pretty disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. If my neighbor did that on Ospey Lake, I would be, can't say it on TV.
22 times, honestly.
Yeah, right.
The equivalent.
And I guess the message here is still not going to get conveyed with what's here in front of us. Which the message is, if you've got about $8,000, then you can do whatever you want on your property, have your view, and put your nice plants. You get rid of your pines and put your oaks up, no problem. You want colorful maples in the fall, cut your pines down, put up some beautiful maples. In 10 years, you got a nice view in the fall too. It's absolutely concerning It's very concerning, because if we look at the water quality of the ponds in this town, I honestly don't know how the water quality of these ponds is actually what it is.
It's beautiful,
With
because I
the-
tested.
With the abuse that we have, though, I don't know why it is the way it is, to be honest. And I could get on a side-by-side right now and take a ride around the lake. Well, I did. I walked. It's awful on this lake. It's terrible what we're allowing to have happen.
I agree.
And I sit here and I won't cut a sapling because somebody will be right on me. But I'll hear a chainsaw on a Sunday afternoon when it's really busy out. And people have no shame in it at all. I think to myself, I won't even do that on a Tuesday when there's nobody around. And to just do this in plain sight and to have a $3,600 fine and have that be waived is disgusting. You know, until we actually put something down on someone, this is going to continue to happen. People are going to move up here. They're going to buy our properties. They're going to buy our neighbors' properties, and they're going to destroy them.
I agree.
And I'm not saying that they can't buy the properties. Okay? I'm not saying that. But let's face it. These aren't their year-round residences. They come here for a view of the water. I don't have a view of the water.
And, excuse me, they
And I
pay the
can't get
highest
one.
taxes in town.
They pay the highest taxes in town, and we can't even help your road.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I totally get it. It's not going to be fixed overnight, though, as far as the roads. There's Logan Circle. There's all these other roads. People pay high amount of taxes, and they get nothing. They get no plowing. They don't even get a grader to come through. I get that. But what's disgusting to me is the fact that my conservative principles would tell me, you know what, leave the government out of it. But this is an instance where I think the government has to protect something of value. And it has to start here at the town hall, because it's going to continue to happen for the next 10, 15 years. As long as the market's bust around here, people are getting $800,000 for a dump on the lake, and a millionaire buys it, cuts all the trees down. It's a shame. It's disgusting. I will not vote yes for this tonight, because to me, there's no penalty involved in what in the reward that they reaped for what they did.
I made folders for each of you guys because I know words can't really speak for the pond and the trees. Like if I could, I would show you 2 pictures out of this. I made you each a folder, and I'll show you 2 pictures of this. And can I show you the pictures?
Sure.
Now this is all the same lot. And this is before. This is after.
Are they living in the camper?
No, it was put there for spite because he was reported, and that's what he did, shoreside. But if you're gonna look at 2 pictures, and I made you a folder each, to me, like, that's exactly what you just said. I mean, this was last spring. This is this spring.
Can you
Sorry.
hold those up this way so I can show Dave back? Just hold them.
Where's the camera?
Just hold them right up where you are. And point this way.
Oh, that way.
Toward me.
The other one.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Keep going.
He didn't get it.
Keep going.
You got
Zoom in
it.
on you.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get in closer. I see the camera there.
Hold on a second. Keep them right there. Okay, you can move them together. And get right in there.
So thank you for hearing us out, by the way. Really appreciate it. You know, we've been up here 50 years. We've heard out of town kind of argument a number of times, and we respect that. I think what's important to keep in mind is this is also an affront to the people in Waterboro. I've let dozens of people pass my property for whatever use. And as the weeds increase because the turbidity of the water, decreases, it's just going to become a weed pit, almost just a weed pit. So I hope you keep that in mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, certainly our interest is getting this resolved, okay? And that's why the consent decree is established. It's either that or we go to court, so.
It's definitely worth fighting for.
We thank you for your input. What is the,
Hopefully we ain't gotta go to fight.
What's that?
We haven't got to fight if this works. But if they do any of the steps out of order or don't meet the timelines, then at least we've got some type of an agreement to take right to court. Not that it's gonna, the court system is very slow, but it will, this gives us another leg to,
And then
yeah.
okay?
Thank you very much.
What is, what's the pleasure of the board?
You haven't got to leave. You don't have to leave.
Oh, yeah. Could I give you the folder? So I made these up,
Yep.
pretty self-explanatory.
Thank you.
well, like you said, it's going to the board. But then they'll allow you-
Are all those pictures in the attachment that you sent us?
Just that I try to capture,
Yep.
as an executive brief, because a lot of times in the meeting, what they're even voting on, So some guys are PowerPoint people, some guys are paper people.
This whole thing,
Thank you.
I'll take the one for Dave.
Go, you can leave that and give it to Dave.
Okay.
He'll be in a day or two here, so.
Okay, super. Thank you very much.
That's covered.
So what's your, what's the, position of the board?
Well, the way I think of it is, the way I take it is if we don't do something with this consent agreement, then we're gonna be in the same predicament in 6 months anyway. So at least if we're gonna go back in the same predicament, we might as well at least have some teeth, like Mike said, to be able to chew into it. I guess I would-
David?
So I would agree with what Dana said. I'd be interested in entertaining the consent agreement as written. I'm not at all interested in waiving any fines there.
Okay.
Is that a motion?
I'll make that a motion, yes, sir.
I'll second it.
Did you say waiving no fines?
Waiving no
No
fines.
fines. So we would adjust the consent agreement and take out the waiving of the $3,000 fine.
How many trees were cut? Do we know the total?
There were 32 trees cut total. Trees from shacks.
Do I suggest an amendment to Dave's? Is that how that?
You can.
Dave, would you amend your motion to have like $7,000 of fine? 32 trees?
Was it explained what the regrowth trees entail? I don't think Mike explained that at all, as far as the dimensions of the trees and the size of the trees that have to be replanted.
Each tree, there'll be 16 trees that will be planted 4.5 feet tall, 2 inches in diameter. So they're probably a 5 or 6 year old tree.
At a minimum.
At a minimum, that's the minimum size. There are 16 of those, and then he has planted probably 40 plantings. If they survive, we can utilize some of those to satisfy the sapling and shrub requirement, which is the remainder after the 16 trees.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Mike, I would go to 5,000 instead of 7. I would amend to 5,000.
Not waived, they have to pay it.
They have to pay.
Non-waived.
Okay, all right.
So, who
second
seconded
that.
that?
I did, and I will,
Oh, sorry. Wait.
I will agree with Dave.
Okay. So, the fine would be $5,000, non-waivable, along with the compensation for the legal fees, $3,600. Okay? Everybody understand the motion? All those in favor? Opposed? 5-0. I guess we need to present that to the landowner. Okay? All right. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate your input. This is Brad, right?
Yes.
Oh, Ben. I'm sorry. Ben. I've been calling him Brad all night.
You're gonna reprint that then? Do you need our signatures before the week's out?
So on procedure, I'll make the amendment, or I'll make the edit to the document, I'll send it to Mike. It will take two parties, obviously, to make an agreement, so that'll be communicated to the property owners, but assuming there's agreement there, we'll have a copy left here at the town office for everybody to come in and sign. It's also worth noting, the agreement is to be recorded in the Registry of Deeds.
Right.
Which I think is a good way of ensuring that when that 5-year mark passes, if there's any problem with that, at least a new property owner, if they come along, will be aware of the continued obligation.
Right. Yes.
The question is, do you need that signature fairly quick so this can be recorded and start the process? Because he's only got till April for us to get this done, but do you want it recorded in Alfred?
We will get everything signed and recorded as quickly as we can, but
Okay.
the property owner understands those deadlines are replanted regardless of that.
We might have to come in and sign.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll get that taken
Thanks,
care of.
Ben. I apologize for calling you Brad all
I've
night.
been called worse. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
All right, so let's jump back to new business. Item A, discuss and vote on amendments to the Parks and Rec ordinance, space ordinance, I'm sorry.
I'll make that a motion to approve it as printed.
Second.
Any further discussion? Sensing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
I will say that the Public Works have got most of the signs, no parking signs up. Some of them are only temporary, but there is signage enough so that there is no parking from this intersection out here to the Bagley Road. And that is year-round. But the new signage, some of the new signage has been ordered and it will be in, but there are signs up to cover everything.
Okay. Item B, discuss and vote on town administrator compensation. What is your pleasure there? Somebody can make a motion. We talked a little bit tonight about bumping it,
Yeah.
so
I would make the motion that we go to the, I guess $200 a day, $1,000 a week,
$1,000 a week.
And back.
and back to,
August 1st.
No, he took over the 12th, so.
August 6th.
August 6th.
back to the August 6th date of when Matt took over.
I'll make that, I'll second your motion, Dave.
Any discussion? Sensing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Continue.
We can disperse with the discuss vote on the Old Home Days Committee tonight. We did not have an interview. discuss and vote on quitclaim deed, map 1, lots,
023 and 003.
right, so lot 23001, right? So, 003, I'm sorry. I need to expand my
I'll make a motion,
Zoom, my Zoom.
I'll make a motion to sign a quitclaim deed to map 001, lot 023-003.
Okay,
I'll do one at a time here.
all right. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Paid all the back taxes, we're all squared away.
These are back taxes that have been paid, so we give them a quitclaim deed back.
Dave seconded.
Yes.
Right. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries 5-1, 5-0.
I will
5-1.
make a motion to sign a quitclaim deed to 003, map 003, lot 016-014.
Second that.
Okay, been moved and seconded to approve a quitclaim deed to map 3, lot 16-014. You get a first and a second. All those, any further discussion?
Just want to verify that all the back taxes are paid on that lot as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. All right. How come this thing doesn't go back?
You want a motion for the minutes?
Yeah, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the February 1st meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Pending decisions, I think we're all set there, week's action list. Discussion of agenda items, anything that comes up that you want to put on there?
That compactor, is that something we want to put on there?
Yes, we can't do it by,
I mean, we can take it off, but
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
but we should put it in the pending decisions,
Yeah.
probably as contract zoning.
No, you said compactor, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Compactor.
They break
Where'd you
it.
get the compact zone?
No, but it's,
Oh,
It's close.
we have, just so everybody knows, we have a quote from Atlantic for the, for reconditioned,
Atlantic Recycling.
Atlantic Recycling for a reconditioned compactor that will be on this year's warrant. And what we need to discuss is, we do have, Josh has a commitment by them, if we pay them X amount of dollars, that they will hold it until after we have the town meeting.
So essentially
Okay.
store it.
So,
We're up
We'll-
against, I was gonna say, we're up against the wall because the one that is there,
Oh,
the main compactor, is on borrowed time, and the hydraulics are probably about half.
how about the housing for this new one? Does it slip right into to the old?
There's some work to be done, but not a lot. It's
but all the cans will work.
all the cans will work.
Oh, so a couple grand to just restructure a few things?
May have to change the hopper. The steel, there's gotta be some, but that will be in the package when Josh gets.
So
the
let's
package.
put that on the next agenda to at least approve the payment to them to hold. And Josh is out working some of that language now with them. It's like $27,000, I think Josh put into his budget, we put it into capital for, 12, 13 grand to install and all of that stuff, so it's about a $40. The current one was built in, what, 85, 83?
83, or 82.
It's got more wells than it has parts.
And that was used then, so.
For agenda items, can we, prior to finalizing the budget, can we meet with the sheriff?
Sure.
Okay.
Can we what?
Meet with the sheriff?
For budget meeting, you said?
Well, before the budget gets finalized, and they get too far into the process for the public safety, just to meet with the sheriff and look at options and talk about what the expenses would be for next year.
The only thing we have left for budget committee meetings right now is just CIP and transfer station, well, actually just about a very short follow-up on transfer and public works.
Public Works.
We've gone through it, everything.
So
already.
public safety's done? Can it be amended if we meet with the sheriff and we come up with some different ideas?
So you want the budget committee to meet with them again?
They met with the sheriff?
No, do you want the budget committee to meet with them, or do you want to meet with them here for the board?
No, the board to meet with the sheriff.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's a good opportunity. Could we invite the county manager as well?
Sure. The town, the
The
who?
county manager as well?
Oh, that'd be great. Yes.
Yeah, because there's a significant increase.
Yeah.
Well, and I've learned some about that, just so you know, that the way they do their billing is not how we would interpret the estimates.
Okay.
I don't understand it, it's not how I would do it, but
We'll get a slide presentation on county billing.
All right. Anything else? We just need to identify quitclaim deeds or sign the quitclaim deeds. We're going to do a real quick executive session. We're going to have some more discussions on town administrator candidates.
You got anything?
Huh?
I'm looking back at our Public Works Director and
Going good?
You all
just
set?
asking if he's all set. And
Thank you. Thanks for doing it.
All right.
Take a motion to adjourn.
Well, let's make a motion to go into executive session and then we'll
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session pursuant to MRSA 405.
Okay, so,
6A, discussion on personnel matter.
and we'll do that at
Second that.
5 minutes.
In 5 minutes?
Yeah.
you can stay right here, I think.
So, any, do I have a second?
I second it.
All right, so, Mike?
Do you want Matt to stay, or do you want him going? I have no problem with him staying.
I don't have a
because
problem with him staying either.
You said you do,
it's
Dwayne?
No, I do not have a problem.
Well, typically, if it
His-
involves an
so-
employee, we're supposed to have them present, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All those in favor of going into executive session in 5 minutes? Opposed?
You'll be in silence for 5 minutes, Dave.
are you saying?
Copy that, Dave, thank you.